and gentlemen, we're back with more Mermaid Swamp, and we're prepared to reach into some fish tanks for some reason. So let's do this. We've received no clues about reaching into fish tanks. Perhaps our heroine, Reen, simply cannot get enough of being covered with mud and gunk. Let's do this. Reach inside. Did you smash your hand down into the water? She's such a violent creature. That is not reaching. That is slapping. For a moment I thought she was going to be pulled into the fish tank. I happen to know that the RPG Maker's RTP basic installation files come with some pretty decent water sounds. That is not one of them. Or it's probably a part of the RTP, but there are certainly more useful sounds for gently reaching your hand into a fish tank. Ah, exactly. Hand grab me? Oh, I got something. What's this? You're not freaking out and running away right now? Got a button. I hope the button is for a remote. You install it into the remote, and when you press it, your head explodes from the sheer pressure of the lack of anything inside your skull. You're not freaking out. Why? A normal human would be losing their mind right now. Would be completely out of their mind with fear. And our delightful heroine, Reen, instead is like, oh, a hand grab me. Ooh, hey, a button. It's shiny. It has my attention. Squirrel! Sorry. Thought I saw a squirrel. I love Doug. I really do. Alright, let's do some more mopping unless she's too tired. Or, oh, well, it turns out we can walk right up there. Be nice if I could clean up this sludge. Come on. That is so not the right sound for a mop. Mopping up goop in a ruined house. Well, it could be worse. A spectral hand could have just grabbed you in a fish tank. Now we're searching another random room again. This closet has clothes in it, of all things. Nothing in the mirror. The bureau is filled with lots of shoes. It's filled with expensive clothes, but they're all old. Well, isn't that lovely? Closets full of clothes. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm starting to sound a little bit on the irritated side. This game is sincerely batshit maddening with the adventure game logic. It's utterly repulsive. I can't possibly understand it. I need to get away from this place. Die, you aberrations. I can't stand them even laying their hands on me. Well, fish don't have hands, so I'm going to assume we're talking about the children. The dresser mirror has VEE written on it. And we're going to assume that's the room numeral for 8, and not the sound that your mother's vibrator makes. Unless it does, in which case that is a perfectly reasonable assumption. You can't get in the room due to the hole in the floor, or you could simply step over it. If I had a plank to put down here, I got anything I could use? No. You wait. Pick it. Oh, apparently not. Excellent. Figured. Think I'm being watched again. I don't even know what to say to that. That was not scary. Not in the least. Come on. No sound effect. You can't just flash random things at us with no context of what those things are, or how they're being seen. Was Reen that close? Did she see that eyeball that close? I do not think so. Oh, goodness. And it had so much potential. Now we have a red button for some reason. I have no idea what to do with the red button. What do we need a red button for? Is it a button that goes to clothing? Is it a button that goes to a switch? I do not know. What I do know is when I find whatever it is that I need to use this red button on, I'm liable to roundhouse kick it. Alright, well, let's try our previous sense of logic and head back to the storeroom. Perhaps there's a crowbar there. Drums, miscellanea, cleaning implements, guns, wood, crates. Nothing. Alright then. Perhaps we need to head back to the toolbox on the second floor. Bum ba bum ba bum. Ba ba ba. This is Yuta's room. The drawers are empty. Nothing here. Nothing here. Yuka's room hasn't changed. We still don't know where Seitaro is. That fool. Ah, yes. Oh, not there. Not there. Perhaps this portion of the video will be sped up again, as we look for a crowbar or a plank or something of use. Toolbox with nothing of use. Beyond irritated. A bed. A bed with no descriptive flavor text. Ah, we've been in here before. And that means there's nothing of use. Or does it? Sometimes it doesn't. Oh, goodness. Let's check all of our letters. Deed expired, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, piano room. Old paper. Oh. Newspaper clipping. Note. We don't have anything that tells us about the spring clock. Unfortunately. Decorative katana. Katana! The closet contains some futons. The game contains boring backtracking. Come on. Something good needs to happen. Now. Immediately. Now. Immediately. Perhaps if I keep repeating myself, something good will come of this. I actually recorded the last session and this session back to back, so my voice is getting a little bit on the worn out side. I haven't had a lot of experience with this, so it doesn't last quite as long as your professional level Let's Players. And I'm running a little dry in the old throat here, so I'm hoping something good happens in the next little bit. This very short time. But I don't know what that might be. Perhaps we should go back up the stairs. Something was watching me. Something with a camera very close to its face, for some reason. Alright, check the rooms. It's utterly repulsive, I can't stand you, blah blah blah. 8. We know that 8 is important, or perhaps VIII, but we don't know why. Why do you suppose that is? Because the game tells us nothing. We're to figure out all the puzzles and challenges based entirely on that was the chair, not me, but I feel the need to apologize anyway. Based entirely on randomly walking around and clicking things. This is not good game design, and it is not good horror game design either. I have to give credit to the person who translated it, though. They've done a pretty bang-up job. Everything seems to be mostly understandable, and I don't think any clues have been left out in the translation, which would be the first thing to worry about in a situation like this. I just think that the original dialogue probably didn't contain sufficient clues and various other things to help the player along. Now, randomly walking around and checking boxes and buckets and bureaus and drawers and closets and dressers for a random key that happens to go somewhere, perhaps that you haven't even been to yet. I can't get out this way. Flies and have the trash can. That's not good game design. That is padding at its best. And again, it's very tempting to do things that way when you use the RPG Maker because you're, again, limited in what you're able to do. hide a clue here, hopefully the player will stumble across it, and then they will use it elsewhere, and they might feel like they've accomplished something, because it's taken time to accomplish something, and that makes it feel like a big thing. But, hell is it caught on? But, just because something takes time doesn't necessarily mean that something is worthwhile. You see that with mobile games nowadays. For example, I've been playing I don't know if it's the latest, but a Peter Molyneux brainchild called Godus. I feel something hard in the pillow. What is it? Called Godus. And it's a god game. You know, not unlike his previous entry. I believe it was his Black and White. One of the two. And it's fine at first, but then, like a lot of these mobile games that require resources to construct and craft various things, those resources start taking longer and longer the further you get into the game. For example, I had a beacon of expansion in that game that allowed me to have my little followers in my civilization expand to further locations to colonize. And I kid you not, once I sent my followers to start building it and making it function, it took more than 6 days, 6 real-time, real-world days, for this beacon to be completed. Of course, I had the option of paying for quicker completion with gems purchased with real money, but who are we kidding? No fucking way am I paying for fake gems to make something happen faster in a mobile game. I don't know how I got on that subject, but I'm ranting about it anyway. How does that remind me of that? Ah, yes, artificial padding. But yeah, and waiting 6 days for that beacon of expansion didn't make it feel special, didn't make it feel important. It just made it feel annoying. You know, there were other things to do in the game, certainly, but waiting all that time for a beacon just to continue playing the game only irritated me. It didn't make me feel like I was achieving anything great. Now, things that take a long time, such as, for example, the various Souls games of From Software, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, those games take time because you get killed a lot. But you're almost never killed in those games based on bad design. There's very little, except for one section in Dark Souls, and I'm sure anybody who's played it can relate with me on this one. The section where you have to climb up a pillar and walk around a railing around a very high tower outside of a temple, and on this very narrow railing are 2 very powerful silver knights that can kill you in 1 to 2 shots. While you're having arrows fired at you, you have to defeat one of them on the rail or somehow manage to slip away from him. That particular section can go right to hell, and I feel like was a bad design choice. But that's really it. There's nothing that makes you artificially pad out the time to make you think you've accomplished something that you haven't. And so far, I found myself running in circles. We're going to give this about 5 more minutes. And if we can't figure out exactly where we need to go next, I may, in fact, hunt down a walkthrough. I don't want to, but I may. Let's take stock. We'll save really quick, and then let's take stock of what we have. We've been at this for 2 hours now. Lantern, hammer, picket, red button. We have the ladder, is the only thing that we can actually actively use. I don't know that that's helpful. We know we need a rope, and possibly something to nail a rope to, which the picket may be what that's for. Having Reen say, this will work, or this will do just fine, that doesn't help. Oh, balls, I did it again. It doesn't help if the player doesn't know exactly what she's talking about. And again, I don't know if that's an error in translation, but that sort of thing should be addressed. And again, this is an amateur project. You can't expect professional development levels of attention. And it's very good for what it is. But go back and listen to the last 15 minutes of me whining like a fool, and you'll understand what I'm feeling right now. The water in the tank is murky and green. There is no rope. We know there's something hard in the pillow, but we don't know what it is, and Reen won't do anything with it, so... We're limited, in fact, by the character's inclination to mess with stuff or not. Still don't see a rope. VIII. I'm at a loss. I truly do not know what I need to be doing right now. Shush! Phone? Yes, I know. I have an alarm. Silence! Shh. There we go. Quiet, beautiful lady on the phone. Your voice is so pretty and mechanical, it reminds me of myself. Pretty and mechanical. There is no rope in here either. How are we doing on time? We have about 2.5 minutes before the walkthrough hunt begins. Spring clock. Spring clock. Perhaps the spring is out of the clock. I don't remember what was said about it. Clicking everywhere. Clicking everywhere. I don't understand why some of the rooms are sort of stereotypically Japanese and some of them are very, very Western. Items. Burn the bed. No, of course not. There's something hard in the bed. What is it? Well, tear open the pillow and find out, you fool. This place is dilapidated. Clearly no one's living here. I'm fairly sure they'll be alright if you tear the pillow up. I found a red button in the fish tank. Which means what? Anything? I'm losing my patience. And all I can think of is Reen. Use your brain a little bit. Because I feel completely limited of what my mortal brain is able to accomplish. One can only solve puzzles for which one has clues. I'll go this way. Check my phone. It's deader than hell. Try to sleep. No go. Chest for valuables is still empty. Still teasing me. And Taro is still nowhere to be found. It's ridiculous that we can't find the man, but what are you going to do? TV, trash can. We're just going to start checking random things. Monkeyfish. Yuta's room. Perhaps we should check Yuta's room a little more carefully. It would make sense that he would leave something incriminating because he's clearly possessed or being influenced in some way. TV, trash can. Notepad that isn't there. Perhaps we simply need to search diaries and notepads before we turn around and hit up the walkthrough. So let's do that. We'll check out the notebooks. The center of the world is a secret blah blah blah. Fish tanks. I would really love a sprint button right now. She moves pretty quickly. So it's not really a problem, but sometimes you just want to go faster. Everything ended that day. I must repent. I locked it away with that blah blah blah. That's the mansion key. We know all about that. And in here we have nothing. No notebooks in there. The clock stopped ticking no longer. The yell of the clock in the house alive. Where did its spring get to? Come to think of it, isn't it still inside? That protective item of mine. I may not be able to get it now. That does not help. A lantern. A pot. A sword. A protective item of mine. What does that mean? Ball. Dead goldfish. Kids, I find myself more and more inclined to give this one a great big Are you kidding me? This shelf seems super wobbly. I wonder if I could move it. I am completely run amok. A bundle of documents. Read. There was a bequeezy Metha, propose, heron. I can't read this for shit. Maybe Seitaro can help. Honey, are we suggesting that there are multiple languages here and you're not fluent in both of them? We know we're in Japan, and while it may be a little bit insensitive for me to suggest, I believe most Japanese are taught English as well. So what writing is it that you can't read? Ah, well, now we need to find Seitaro again. So perhaps he will have popped up somewhere randomly. The study, perhaps? It sounds like... It reads like a will, perhaps. I'm guessing the word bequeasy is bequeathed. Oh, balls. Well, our boy is not upstairs. We'll skip the walkthrough for now because we've got a little bit more to go on. Just a little bit, though. He's not in his room. He's not in the kitchen. Or this room, which I'll assume is done. Dining room. Photos everywhere. Is he in the bathroom? No. Is he in the tub? Perhaps I could burst in on him. Like a saucy, brain-dead minx. Alright, well, perhaps he's at the old mansion. I have documents now, and nothing to do with them. A will... perhaps... He said he would go to the mansion after he was done checking. And I don't know if we can make him get done checking so we can speak to him and show him these things. He's just vanished. Also, check it again. Alright then. From now on, every single conceivable thing we check. We've been here. This is of no use to us. Back we go, clicking random buttons. And... yeah. Planks, backtracking. Lots of backtracking. I'm sure there are no designers listening to this, even if somehow this channel takes off. I doubt that it will get any sort of designer attention, but if there are designers, perhaps within... oh, I did it again. Perhaps within range of my telepathic voice. Please, please, I beg you on what you can assume is bended knees, because you can't see me, even though I'm completely lying. I beg you, no backtracking. At all costs. There are very few things that break the flow worse than backtracking. Documents. You're a fool, Reed. You are a fool. And I imagine your breath is pretty hideous at this point, because there are no toothbrushes that we're aware of. I wonder if anybody's looked at the car in a while. I don't know how long we walked to get here. Clickety-click, clickety-click, clicking everything. The bookshelf is lined with books. I just checked a trash can. This paper has something on it. I was deceived. I'd never have married him if I'd known about this place. Those cunning men tricked me. But I'll never be able to leave. I know it's secret. So I'll be cursed. Alright then. Flavor text without a whole lot of meaning. But it's something. Perhaps it'll trigger an event. RPG Maker comes with a set of basic codes already built in. One of those basic code options is called switches. Switches and variables that allow you to turn on trigger events. There's a large hole in the floor. It looks like you have to use the other stairs to get to the other side. That can be used to trigger other events whenever a condition is fulfilled. And I'm sure there's similar items in actual game programming. I know that there are similar items in JavaScript and Ruby and other coding languages. So confused. I lied when I said I wouldn't sing earlier. I really am a terrible singer. so I won't do it very often. But when I do, consider this an apology in advance. Reed, you know you're being watched. Why aren't you arming yourself? Oh, balls. Washing machine. Worn clothes. This session of recording has lasted almost an hour and has completely not been worth that time. Here I am checking trash cans and rice cookers, looking for something to trigger the next event. I need to find Seitaro, but I don't know where to look. Clock, chair, door. Yuka, can you help a sister out? Dresser, trash can. We have yet to address what that sound was, and we also have yet to address what the moaning lady was from earlier, from one of the upstairs rooms. I believe the wax room. We have no idea. It sounded like a lady giving herself a hand, and it hasn't been addressed since. Dead goldfish float in the bowl, and no one cares. Is there nothing else here? Nothing. Wonderful. Come on, give me something to work with here, game. Clock. Perhaps I was supposed to find those documents earlier, and I've simply broken the game. It wouldn't be the first time, and with any luck it will be the last, but we all know that that's not the case. We know one of you likes fish and the other one doesn't. Doesn't mean anything, though. Checking all the fish tanks. According to my handy-dandy screen recorder, we've been recording for 59 minutes, 20 seconds as of this session. When that hits 60 minutes, that's where we'll cut it off. And I may or may not hunt for a walkthrough. Perhaps I will. I'd like to finish the game. I really feel like searching for walkthroughs before you finish the game yourself is... cheating is the wrong word, but it feels unethical in a way. It feels like the experience has been tainted somehow. Sort of like a Halo player after he's been killed. And I hate to do that knowing that people put work into these games. The problem there is, if I can't figure out where I'm going, I'm wasting my time and yours. And I don't want to do that because I value your time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. We've reached the 1 hour mark on this recording, so it's time to cut it off. Let's bring up the old logbook here. Save. Reen's wonderful face, looking at this camera with just the doofiest expression, like she's waiting for a fishbowl to come down over her own head somehow. She is not wise in the ways of the world. In any case, thank you for listening to me rant and rave and pretend that I'm having just the most difficult time here. I apologize for the state of my voice. Hopefully it'll be better in the next recording. However, until then, I will ask that you stay glorious and have a beautiful... Wait, which season is it? Fuck off.